There exists a woman you might recognize, one who has stopped chasing validation, stopped negotiating with her own needs, and fully inhabits her silence. She disturbs as much as she fascinates, because she has discovered something many still ignore, this truth that Carl Jung articulated with striking insight. True individuation begins when we cease seeking our completeness in another's gaze. Have you ever witnessed this mysterious alchemy, where the more a woman distances herself from the desperate quest for approval, the more magnetic she becomes? The more she chooses her solitude rather than endures it, the more she radiates an inexplicable presence. This paradox is neither coincidence nor conscious manipulation, but the fruit of a profound process Jung called individuation, this inner renaissance that transforms solitude into creative power. In our era of permanent connection, where isolation has become the new plague of the century, we have forgotten a fundamental distinction between being alone and being solitary. One suffers while the other chooses, one waits while the other creates, one empties while the other fills. Isolation resembles a golden prison where we circle endlessly, while chosen solitude becomes a goldsmith's workshop where the soul is shaped and revealed. When a woman undergoes this silent metamorphosis, when she transitions from emotional dependence to emotional autonomy, something inexplicable occurs around her. Dynamics shift, gazes linger, conversations take on new curiosity, because she now embodies what Jung considered one of humanity's rarest achievements, the capacity to be whole without needing completion. This transformation doesn't happen overnight, but emerges from wounds, disappointments, exhaustion with relational games. Sometimes a painful breakup serves as catalyst. Sometimes it's the accumulation of small frustrations, suffocating compromises, yeses spoken when everything inside screamed, no. One day this woman looks in the mirror and makes a decision that changes everything. She chooses to choose herself, not from bitterness or resignation, but from love for what she discovers within when she stops scattering herself across countless external attentions. The process often begins with emotional detox. Like an addict who must first acknowledge dependency, the woman seeking autonomy must recognize her addiction to others' approval. This awareness can be earth-shattering, realizing most choices, tastes, opinions have been influenced by the desire to please or be accepted, understanding that identity has been constructed as a patchwork of external expectations rather than authentic self-expression. This phase of disillusionment, though painful, is necessary. Jung called it the dark night of the soul, when old personality dissolves before new can emerge. During this period, many abandon ship, frightened by apparent emptiness, rushing back to familiar patterns and reassuring yet unsatisfying relationships. But those who persist, who accept traversing this discomfort zone, discover on the other side virgin territory, rich with unexplored possibilities. The first reason for this irresistible attraction lies in the particular energy she radiates, a rare and independent vitality. When a woman stops drawing life force from external approval, when she learns to nourish herself from internal resources, she develops what Jung termed autonomous libidinal energy. This energy no longer disperses across countless seduction or validation attempts, but concentrates, densifies, becomes palpable. Imagine the difference between a river dividing into multiple streams versus a powerful current flowing through a single channel. The dependent woman scatters vital energy in all directions, attempting to simultaneously satisfy professional, familial, social, and romantic expectations. This dispersion exhausts and dilutes her presence. The solitary woman has learned to channel this energy toward what truly matters. This concentration creates particular intensity, emotional density others instinctively perceive. Observe this woman at a party where she doesn't need to be the center of attention to shine. Her presence imposes itself naturally, without effort or calculation. She truly listens when spoken to, because she's no longer in constant performance mode to please. Her attention isn't divided between what she says and its effect. She can afford spontaneity, express disagreements, ask uncomfortable questions. Her laugh is authentic, silence is comfortable, opinions assumed. This authenticity radiates magnetic force. Few can explain, but all feel. She no longer contorts herself to avoid controversial topics or adopt trendy tastes. If she dislikes wine, she orders herbal tea without apology. If she prefers leaving early rather than prolonging a boring evening, she does so with grace, but without negotiation. This freedom to be oneself completely and without compromise fascinates those who have forgotten what this means. To cultivate this independent energy, begin by identifying your personal vitality sources beyond others' opinions. What truly nourishes you? Reading, nature walks, artistic creation, meditation, dance, creative cooking. Grant yourself daily sacred moments with these activities, like unmissable appointments with yourself. Gradually, you'll feel your energy stabilize, strengthen, become less dependent on external fluctuations. Also observe how you behave differently across contexts. Are you the same person with colleagues, friends, and family? These variations are normal, but if too significant, they signal excessive adaptation to others' expectations. Work to develop a stable personality core that remains coherent regardless of circumstances. The second reason for this magnetic attraction resides in profound alignment with personal values. The solitary woman has had necessary time and space to clarify what truly matters, no longer navigating by sight, tossed by social expectations or contradictory desires. She has established her inner compass and trusts it completely. This clarification hasn't occurred overnight, but through experiences, questioning, assumed mistakes, and integrated lessons. This alignment translates into visible coherence between words and actions, choices, and convictions. She no longer says yes when thinking no, no longer contorts herself to fit unsuitable molds. This integrity radiates quiet strength that inspires respect and admiration. In a world where many navigate inconsistency and perpetual adaptation, this stability feels like a lighthouse in the storm. In daily life, this manifests through assumed decisions. She chooses relationships with discernment, prioritizing quality over quantity, invests time in meaningful pursuits, refuses compromises that would betray fundamental values. This selectivity isn't arrogance, but wisdom, understanding that saying yes to everything means truly saying yes to nothing. Consider Sarah, 42, who long accepted every invitation from fear of disappointing others. Her calendar was full, but life empty, rushing from one social commitment to another, without asking if these activities brought genuine value. When she began declining certain invitations to preserve evenings for creative solitude, her circle was initially surprised, but gradually, her rare appearances became more appreciated, her presence more intense and authentic, because she had chosen to be there. To develop this alignment, take time clarifying your deep values, what truly drives you: justice, creativity, freedom, authenticity, kindness, excellence, simplicity. List these values and observe how daily choices align with them. Where you discover inconsistencies, you find improvement paths toward a more aligned and therefore more attractive life. Create what I call alignment rituals. Each morning, before checking your phone or diving into daily urgencies, grant yourself 5 minutes to connect with deep priorities. What are today's 3 most important things? How can you honor your values in today's choices? This simple yet consistent practice gradually creates remarkable life coherence. The third dimension of this attraction lies in the power of silence. Our chattering age has forgotten the potency of the unspoken, the depth of pauses, the intensity of gazes that say more than 1,000 speeches. The solitary woman has rediscovered these forgotten territories of communication, knowing silence isn't emptiness to fill, but fertile space where true connections are born. This silence mastery doesn't mean she speaks little. On the contrary, she can be very talkative when passionate about subjects, but she has developed language economy, the ability to dose interventions according to necessity and impact. She no longer speaks to fill time, reassure herself, or exist in others' eyes. When she speaks, her words carry weight, not thrown in urgency to fill conversational blanks, but chosen, weighed, inhabited. This language economy gives particular weight to each intervention. People listen differently, await her opinions, respect her silences. In group conversations, when she speaks after lengthy listening, all eyes turn to her, not because she demanded attention, but because her previous restraint created expectation, curiosity for her contribution. This silence mastery extends to gestures and bodily presence. She occupies space with precision, neither too much nor too little. Her movements are fluid, postures natural, no longer needing to signal herself through agitation or extravagance. Her simple presence suffices. There's something peaceful in her way of being that invites others to slow down, breathe, settle. If these reflections resonate with you, if you feel these words touch something deep and true, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and activate notifications, because your support truly enables continued creation of authentic and thoughtful content, and most importantly, ensures you're informed whenever a new exploration of the human soul is published, since this journey toward oneself deserves to be shared and accompanied. To cultivate this power of silence, grant yourself authentic solitude, moments daily. No music, no screens, no distractions, just you and your thoughts. Learn to comfortably inhabit these non-doing spaces. Initially, you might feel anxiety, urgency to occupy yourself. This is normal, a symptom of our hyperactive era. Persist despite initial discomfort. Gradually, you'll develop the capacity to be fully present without needing constant signaling. You'll discover silence isn't empty, but full of nuances, subtleties, possibilities. You'll learn to listen not only to what is said, but what remains unspoken, emotions circulating beneath words, needs expressed through gestures and glances. The fourth reason for this magnetic attraction stems from inner richness and curiosity characterizing the solitary woman. Time no longer spent managing complicated relationships or satisfying others' expectations, she invests in personal growth through reading, reflection, exploration, creation. Her conversation becomes richer, references more varied, perspectives more nuanced. She develops what Jung called the transcendent function, the capacity to synthesize apparent opposites to create something new. This inner richness doesn't come merely from knowledge accumulation, but from digestion and personal integration. She doesn't collect information like intellectual trophies, but passes it through experience's filter, confronts it with values, transforms it into practical wisdom. Her cultural references aren't worldly veneer, but fruit of genuine passion for understanding the world and herself. This inner richness feeds on authentic curiosity for the world and surrounding beings. Freed from obsession with pleasing, she can genuinely interest herself in others, ask right questions, listen attentively to answers. She discovers each person carries a fascinating universe, unique experiences, enriching perspectives. Paradoxically, by ceasing to try being interesting, she truly becomes so. Jung spoke of this phase as ego enrichment through unconscious exploration. Solitude becomes a personal exploration laboratory, where previously ignored personality facets reveal themselves. This self-discovery expands the spectrum of possibilities and enriches relational palette. She learns she can be simultaneously strong and vulnerable, independent and affectionate, rational and intuitive. To nourish this inner richness, diversify your inspiration sources, read genres you never approach, watch documentaries on subjects seemingly distant from your preoccupations, meet people living differently than you, exit your intellectual and emotional comfort zone, enroll in philosophy courses if you're in sciences, learn a foreign language if you're sedentary, explore contemporary art if you prefer classical. Keep a journal of reflections, discoveries, questionings. This regular practice develops thought depth and analytical capacity that make authentic exchanges rich. Note not only what you learn, but how it resonates with personal experience, what questions it raises, what unexpected connections it reveals. Also, cultivate the art of deep conversation by learning to ask questions beyond social banalities. What truly passionates you right now? When did you last change your mind about something important? What advice would you give your 10-year-ago self? These questions create authentic intimacy and reveal people's depth. The fifth reason for this attraction resides in natural radiance, without effort. When a woman has found inner peace, fully accepts herself, no longer fights against herself, particular serenity emanates from her. This isn't resignation or indifference, but a form of grace born from profound self-acceptance. This acceptance doesn't mean immobility, but ending the internal war that exhausts so much energy. This radiance has nothing to do with conventional beauty or learned elegance. It transcends aesthetic codes to touch something more fundamental. It's the particular glow of someone fully inhabiting her life, assuming choices, no longer disguising herself to exist. This radiant authenticity directly touches others' souls, beyond mental filters and social prejudices. This radiant serenity soothes and reassures. In a world of permanent agitation, she offers a tranquility haven. Others feel better in her company, without always understanding why. Her simple presence diminishes ambient stress and invites relaxation. She naturally becomes refuge for those tired of playing roles, wearing masks, satisfying exhausting expectations. To develop this natural radiance, work on self-acceptance by identifying personality or appearance aspects you still combat. Ask yourself if this struggle exhausts more than constructs. Learn to distinguish what can be changed from what must be accepted. This practical wisdom liberates considerable energy that can be reinvested in what truly matters. Practice self-kindness by speaking to yourself as you would your best friend. Celebrate successes, however small. Forgive mistakes and consider them learning opportunities. This inner gentleness reflects in your relationship with others and creates precious emotional security climate. Jung identified several fundamental archetypes in feminine evolution. To fully understand the solitary woman's transformation, we must evoke two archetypes particularly revealed in this life phase. These aren't fixed categories, but psychic dynamics activated according to personal evolution phases. First, the sage archetype represents the woman who has traversed trials, learned from mistakes, developed practical and emotional wisdom. The sage is no longer in frantic search for idealized romantic love. She knows human relationships' complexity, their beauty and limits. This knowledge hasn't made her cynical, but lucid. She can love without illusion, commit without losing herself, give without exhausting herself. The sage attracts because she offers rare emotional stability, no longer projecting lacks onto others, no longer asking to be saved or completed. She enters relationships as equals, bringing as much as receiving, creating healthy balance, allowing both parties to grow. Her emotional maturity makes her precious confidant, listen to counselor, soothing presence in difficult moments. Next, the explorer archetype embodies curiosity, inner adventure, taste for discovery and experimentation. The explorer doesn't content herself with the already known. She pushes boundaries, questions obviousness, seeks new territories to discover within herself and the world. This exploration can be geographical, but is mainly psychological, spiritual, creative. This explorer dimension makes the solitary woman unpredictable. In the best sense, you don't get bored with her because she doesn't get bored with herself. Her curiosity is contagious, enthusiasm for discoveries stimulating. She inspires others to exit comfort zones and explore their own possibilities. She brings into relationships a breath of novelty, permanent invitation to evolution. These two archetypes don't mutually exclude, but their combination creates remarkably rich personality. Experience wisdom balances, exploration, audacity, emotional stability, secures inner adventure. This synthesis produces a woman simultaneously soothing and stimulating, predictable in values, but surprising in manifestations. To embody these archetypes, cultivate both reflection and action. Grant yourself assessment moments to digest experiences and extract lessons. Simultaneously, dare to exit habits, experiment with new ways of being and doing. This alternation between integration and exploration nourishes personal evolution and maintains vitality necessary for authentic attraction. It's important to distinguish this natural attraction from calculated seduction. The solitary woman doesn't use her solitude as manipulation strategy. She doesn't play at being independent to better attract. Her evolution is authentic, fruit of sincere inner work and existential necessity. This distinction is crucial because it determines attraction quality and durability exercised. This authenticity is immediately felt. You cannot simulate true serenity, feign inner richness, or imitate alignment with values. These qualities are only acquired through experience, reflection, and practice, which is why their effect is so powerful and durable. They resist time and proximity tests, unlike seduction artifices that quickly crumble. Moreover, this attraction operates natural selection. It doesn't attract everyone indiscriminately, but resonates particularly with those seeking authenticity, depth, emotional stability themselves. It naturally repels those searching for dependence, fusion, or relational drama. This selectivity may seem restrictive, but is actually liberating, allowing healthier, more balanced, more durable relationship creation. Quality replaces quantity, depth supplants superficiality. Relationships born on this basis are more satisfying because they rest on mutual recognition of deep values and aspirations. Some fear this evolution toward chosen solitude will isolate them definitively. This misunderstands authentic attraction's paradoxical nature. The more we become complete in ourselves, the more desirable we become to others. The more we stop desperately seeking love, the more lovable we become. The more we develop autonomy, the more capable we become of creating healthy interdependence. Jung explained this paradox through complementary opposites attraction law. When we cease being in lack, we naturally attract abundance. When we're no longer in demand, we become desirable. This psychological law particularly applies to romantic relationships, but extends beyond this framework to all relational domains. Chosen solitude isn't therefore an end in itself, but a transformation means a necessary passage towards superior forms of relationship with self and others. It's the price to pay for accessing authentic love, that which unites without merging, gathers without possessing, nourishes without devouring. This transformation isn't reserved for an elite. Any woman can undertake this path, regardless of age, history, present situation. It suffices to begin with small daily steps. Grant yourself daily solitude moments. Listen to true desires without immediate censorship. Dare say no when intuition invites it. Invest in activities that truly passionate you. These simple gestures initiate a transformation process that can positively revolutionize your entire existence, not by isolating you from the world, but by allowing different entry with more presence, authenticity, quiet strength. Transformation operates gradually, through successive layers, like an onion revealing its peels one by one. The solitary woman becomes irresistible because she embodies an ideal many carry within without daring to live. The ideal of emotional autonomy, personal alignment, inner peace. In frequenting her, others touch this possibility of being fully oneself without needing others' approval. She becomes a mirror of their own buried possibilities. This inspiration is perhaps the most beautiful gift she can offer around her. Not advice or teachings, but her simple example. Living proof that it's possible to transform solitude into strength, independence into attraction, authenticity into magnetism. She opens a path others can follow in turn.